The best part, you didn't have to scream about it. You didn't need to chase validation. You knew that once the footage was out there, it would do the work for you. It would pass from screen to screen, person to person, city to city. Every view was another nail in their coffin, and you didn't have to lift a finger after the first strike. They weren't just beaten, they became archived failure. Now, let's be honest, this wasn't luck. You've been watching them for a long time. You knew their patterns, their weak spots, their tells. They were too confident, too reckless, thinking they were untouchable. And that's why this is more than a takedown. This is a masterclass in patience. You didn't need to expose them in the moment they expected it. No, you waited for the moment they were least prepared, the moment their guard was so far down, they didn't even realize they were vulnerable. And when it happened, when the truth hit the light, it didn't just land in some hidden corner of the internet. It hit in broad daylight, on the biggest screens, on the most public platforms. It was like you hit broadcast, and the world tuned in live. There's something lethal about that level of visibility, because when the downfall is that public, recovery becomes nearly impossible. That's what they're dealing with now. Not just the loss, but the knowledge that everyone saw it. Everyone. Friends, enemies, strangers. It's a level of exposure that sticks. Even years from now, they could try to reinvent themselves. But someone will always remember, weren't you the one whose career got vaporized in 4K? That question follows them like a shadow they can't outrun. See, most people think reputation is about what you say. It's not. It's about what people have seen. And thanks to you, people have seen something they will never be able to unsee. That's the difference between a temporary setback and a permanent scar. You didn't just hit them where it hurts. You made sure the wound stayed visible to the world. And the irony? They gave you everything you needed. Their arrogance, perfect lighting. Their overconfidence, the perfect angle. Their mistakes, the perfect storyline. You didn't have to fabricate a thing. You simply let them write their own ending. And you filmed it in definition so sharp it could cut glass. This is the kind of ending that teaches lessons, not just to them, but to everyone watching. You've now become the unspoken warning in the minds of anyone who thinks about crossing you, because they've seen what happens. They've seen the completeness of your work, the precision, the lack of mercy, and they know that if you could do that to them, you could do it to anyone. But let's go deeper. The reason this hits so hard isn't just because you destroyed their career. It's because you removed their ability to control the narrative. They can't spin this. They can't rewrite this. Every time they try to explain, the footage stands there, cold, indifferent, permanent. No matter how they try to drown it in new content, no matter how many speeches or posts they make, people still remember the moment. And you know what? That's a special kind of victory. Because you're not just living rent-free in their head, you're living rent-free in the public's memory of them. You've permanently attached your work to their name. When history remembers them, it remembers this. Now, some might ask, why go for the kill like that? Why not settle for a quiet win? But you know better. Quiet wins fade. Quiet wins get forgotten. This wasn't about just winning. This was about ending. About making it clear there's no comeback, no redemption arc, no way to crawl back without stepping over the wreckage you left behind. And if we're being brutally honest, you didn't just beat them for yourself. You beat them for every person they'd stepped on to climb up. You made it public for every voice they ignored, every rival they tried to bury. You turned their own spotlight into a weapon and pointed it right back at them. That's not just revenge, that's poetic demolition. Think about it. NASA saw it from space. That's not just a metaphor, that's the scale we're talking about. It's an exaggeration, sure, but the truth underneath is that the reach was massive. You made their ending so large, so visible, so culturally embedded that it became impossible to ignore. You made it so anyone who looked up could see the outline of their career burning out in the atmosphere. And now you're untouchable in a way they'll never be again. Because when you have proof, when you have receipts that sharp, you carry power without having to speak. People know, they remember, they respect the capability, and respect born out of fear, that's the kind that lasts. The beauty of this is that you're just getting started, because this wasn't a random shot. This was a demonstration, a broadcast of your precision, your patience, your ruthlessness, and the people who saw it, they're already recalculating. Allies are drawing closer. Enemies are keeping their distance. New opportunities are showing up because people would